Hey y'all, welcome back. I'm just noticing the lighting is garbage. So I don't even know. I'm not gonna stay in here for that long just because there's no room in here. Is this better? Oh my god, the queen's caught on me. I haven't filmed a plant tour video in like a week and a half. The things that I need to do, I'm gonna start off with a lot of moss pole maintenance. So I'm either gonna be adding moss poles, like extensions, so Philodendron Melanochrysum. The new leaf, I know I showed this in my Instagram story. The new leaf is hardened off. It's beautiful, it's dark, but the stem is growing and it's beyond the moss pole at this point, so I just need to add a second one, put more moss. I still haven't put moss pole in my variegated Monstera adansonii, the small one, so I'll do that. Philodendron Mcdowell, I know I showed y'all last week, but I think the substrate's dry. Trying to keep the moss pole moist now just because there is a lot of rootage in the moss pole. Oh, the Aurea. I'm gonna have to remove so many things. Okay, I still have that big Aurea. Might need a new moss pole, but here's the thing. I don't know if I have enough. So let's do the important ones first. Christmas village, everyone. Christmas tree, everyone. If you missed that video, it's up on YouTube and it was just a good time. Ooh, I got caught. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my. This wire got caught on the table's corner. I'm a little worried, everyone. Here she is. Ooh, oh my god. The top two leaves are these two up here. And they look good. So happy. I don't think, because if y'all remember, I said I wanted this to like reach the ceiling. I don't think that's the case. I mean, she's kind of halfway there, but not quite. Obviously, I think I had moments where the moss pole was too dry, substrate was really dry. She's still gorgeous. Like, she has all these leaves and I'm in love with her. And okay, so I just have another large moss pole. I'm just gonna stack it on top. Oh my god, I love this plant. Okay, sorry, I'm just like seeing it there. So let me show you first the stem. So I mean, you can see here the top of the moss pole, there's already some stem here. You can see the roots from the top node. There's more down here, I think. Over there, I think. I don't know. Y'all know that I've had moments with this plant, and I just want to show you the leaves where I had a hard time. So this was like an underwatering. No, not that one. It was this one. This one was like issues with underwatering and too much light. More than ever, when you subject plants to a lot of light, they need to be watered properly, because then the plant, when it's dry, the plant can't utilize any of the nutrients. They become unusable in a sense when there's no water present or if it dries out. That's what, was it? Oh my god, I'm like, is it this leaf? Is it this leaf? Is this one? Oh my gosh, should I make like a Sydney plant guy kind of real? Oh my gosh, I should. And this is the oldest leaf. This one had so many spider mites a year ago. Do y'all remember? So there's a lot of spider mite damage on the back. I don't know if y'all can see right there. But yeah, the last two leaves have been looking pretty good. And I'm really happy with how they look. I'm just tying the plant, like there is a stake behind the moss pole to support it. I'm tying it against the leg of this table just because I know I might walk away and the whole thing's gonna fall. And today, I'm not in the mood for Charlotte to take a tumble today, so. Ooh, so pretty. So while I'm working on this, I do want to talk about something. Wait, let me focus first. Okay, it's only one. I have to redo this moss pole. If y'all missed the story on Instagram, like I have been like keeping notifications off on Instagram, not really spending time on YouTube and watching other creators. I'm just like in that weird like slump where I kind of have been. Oh, I hate I even like hate admitting this because I think it's so stupid. But like comparing myself and like my plants to people, and I think it's just dumb. Like, why am I doing that? I've like muted notifications on Instagram. I haven't been posting on Instagram. I kind of took a week away from it, and honestly it was for my mental health. And Fern, in her video when she like disappeared for a little bit, like she was talking about that as well, and I commented saying like, oh, like girl, we all go through our phases where we're comparing. Like no matter how fantastic our plants look, I feel like it's just kind of part of it. Like, but we shouldn't. I also felt kind of like annoyed at myself also. Hold on, let me put this in. I felt annoyed with myself also. I don't know if y'all can see over here. I felt like I wasn't necessarily being like a good example, because I always show like a lot of the good here. I do, and I still believe this, I do believe that I show a lot more of the bad, but I still feel like it's not enough on social media. You know, I talked about how, I think last week's plant tour video, my Decipiens, having the old leaf and keeping it because like the plant can still utilize the mobile nutrients already in that leaf to favor the newer growth. I talked about my Regale and how, you know, I keep yellow, brown leaves until they're like all yellow, all crispy, because that is the reality. Like, plants are living things and that's how they're gonna appear. But there's not enough of that on social media. And it's just not real, like a lot of the things that you see on social media. And I think for me, like I was kind of in this like mental like slump when it comes to like looking at my plants, because no one shows the bad. And it's, for me, it's just so frustrating. All of that to say, I think I am going to show more on my channel, show more on Instagram. Again, I feel like I've done a good job at showing you both sides, but I don't think I've done enough of it. Like, sometimes you have to ask yourself, why does this plant only have one leaf? The leaf could be beautiful, but how come it only has one leaf? How come there's no like leaves with crispiness on the edges? Like, it's not real. It's not. And that's why, like, when I showed my picture of my Regale with a hole in the middle, my Queen Anthurium, like, y'all have seen that journey. Like, I'm still gonna keep doing that, but I think in this age of social media, like, y'all, people can manipulate anything that they post. And like an example is fitness people. You know that they can manipulate their bodies, or like the beauty community. Everything is manipulated these days. And it's, for me, I needed to stay away because I know like all this stuff is fake. I feel like this has turned into a rant. I'm so sorry, but I think it's important. I think it's important. It's a topic that I've kind of strayed away from, but I think now we need to open our eyes. We really do. And like kind of an example, but not really, like I've told y'all about this Melanochrysum. I've had so much struggles, and y'all who have followed me, I've had so many struggles. And I'm gonna put a picture here. I've showed this a few times through the couple years that I've talked about this plant, but I always say I never grew this plant big. It came to me big, and it was even bigger. And so like I take no credit for growing this plant this size, because I know people that have juvenile Melanochrysums, they usually like compare to this one. I didn't grow it big. I take no credit. I take credit for keeping it alive. That's literally all the credit I can take. Anyhow, I'm just gonna put moss into the pole, but I need to get on this chair. Oh my gosh. Ooh. In my opinion, it's just sad that we're now conditioned to see perfection on social media. That's not healthy. It's not healthy. And this, again, this is what I've been thinking through the week of like not being on social media. I know I've been on YouTube, but I've been like, all that stuff was edited and scheduled already to go up on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Also, okay, so I think I can talk about just briefly my experience with moss poles in general. Y'all know that I started using moss poles about a year and a little bit ago, and before I like strayed away from using them because I know I don't necessarily like keeping, or like the maintenance of keeping moss poles moist. Just me as a plant parent, and I think everyone needs to kind of think about how you are when you take care of plants. Like, what kind of plant parent are you? One of the most important questions that will kind of influence how you take care of plants. I'm gonna say that they're fine, but like, I think I might try to not put plants on moss poles. I think there is a point where there's too many moss poles to maintain them. So we'll see. I love how I said that, and I'm putting my variegated adansonii in a moss pole. It's a small one though. It's an item I use, but I'm not necessarily like in love, like I need to put a moss pole in a plant. Like, it's not that kind of thing. Obviously, y'all know that I'm experimenting with my Mcdowell and luxuriant crawling philodendrons on moss poles. And so in that case, because I'm experimenting like that one's, that's fine. They're actually like growing really well. And I'm the type of person that likes to try things, not only a second time, but trying things a third time, trying things a fourth time. So initially I hated moss poles, and now I think they're okay. I'm very open to trying new things. I mean, y'all know. yeah, I'm gonna see how this grows. I said I wanted it to hit the ceiling, and obviously with a moss pole I wanted it to root, and then from there I was gonna propagate it and then maybe try LECA and pon again, because y'all know that I had my rot situation, the stem rot of when this plant was in LECA, and so I don't know, I just want to try it again. It's been like a couple years, a year and a half maybe, and so that'd be interesting. She's doing okay, I think. I'm gonna jinx it. I know I am. So I did water the moss pole maybe like 3 days ago. It is still moist, surprisingly. So I'm just gonna put water in this cup up here. Oh yeah, and that's another thing with just moss poles in general, like stability. When the moss pole, and if it's a tall one, it is really hard to like stabilize the pot unless it's in this heavy planter, like or cashpo with a big base. And even like the moss pole itself, like stabilizing it in like the nut pot, I still haven't figured out like a good way. I mean, my Aurea that I'm gonna show y'all, I think in this video, I think because I zip tied it, but also it grew so many big roots and it branched, I think that also is like hugging the moss pole, and that's why it's like more stable. And I've seen that with Hoyas as well, like if I've put a trellis. I'm just using plain tap water. Again, it's a cup with holes. I'm gonna leave her here to like moisten. And since I have the moss, I'll do my adansonii. Okay, Miss Baby, the only one that I kind of was comfortable like keeping by itself because the leaves were more balanced. Oh my God. See, like, I think it's so hard to come across a variegated adansonii that's like pretty balanced. Like, look. So y'all remember, I took this one out of the planter and was like, oh, the variegation looks pretty good. So let's put up a moss pole. Let's see if I like it, because y'all know that I like was not in love with this plant. I didn't notice this, but she is pushing a new leaf that looks pretty, you know, Cinderella stepsister situation, which is a little strange. I think it's because I transferred it and stressed it out too much. I see when I disrupt roots, when it goes through stress, if she's already kind of working on a leaf, she doesn't know what to do. Okay, it's coming out easy. Okay, we're okay. And I'm just gonna put some moss inside. I just can't believe that I propagated this plant so many times. Like I want to say like 12, 13 times. And this is the only one that has balanced variegation. I don't know if that's anyone else's experiment. I keep saying experiment. What's wrong with me? Experiment. Oh my God, I said it again. Experience with the variegated adansonii. So this is gonna be the first time I'm growing an adansonii, like a variegated one, up a moss pole. So yay, new experiences. I'm really like thankful that I have this kind of plant here with good variegation, and now that I'm saying that, I'm probably jinxing it. And I'm gonna fill it up a little bit more just because I know how fast and also thirsty the adansonii is. So let's fill it up probably to the halfway mark. Let's do cling wrap. Just keeping that humidity around the roots, specifically the new roots, because there are a couple that I can see. And I'll show you an example that I was actually shocked by with my Queen Anthurium after this. Even if it's like not necessarily up against it, if you have it wrapped like this, there is a good chance that it'll grow just because it's really humid in there. Yeah, okay, I'm trying not to crush that leaf. I may have damaged it while I wrapped the cling wrap. Who's excited? I'm excited. I should have made the reel for this. I think I should have made the reel before I wet it, because now it's gonna be heavy. Maybe I won't do it. Okay, I want to show you this with the queen. There's not much of an update. Again, she has 2 leaves. This is the one before, and then you'll have seen this one a lot recently, the beauty. And she is the moment. I'm so happy. Y'all know, like Philodendron Melanochrysum and the Warocqueanum, I've had so many issues, and I'm just so happy finally we're on the same page. So I talked about like wrapping the stem to increase the humidity so the roots will like activate, and then therefore will root into the moss pole. You can see that here, the roots on one side were really far, and because I wrapped it with cling wrap here, they're just grasping. Okay, so do you see the stem? That's where the roots are, and they were so small right there. Do you see, because I wrapped it in cling wrap, do you see how it's reaching to the moss pole? So that is fantastic. And then the other side, it's the same. This one was closer, and I think it's funny that this one was closer and she's like going just the other way. Look at this. Do you see how close it was? And this is going outside, like why? So I'm gonna have to keep the cling wrap on there, but yeah. Oh my God, I don't think I've seen this before. These cupboards, oh my gosh. That's new. That wasn't there before. Also, I don't think I knew about these. That is crazy. Again, this is such a thirsty plant. This Aurea up a moss pole, so thirsty. I haven't looked at the new leaf because again, she's against the window. Oh my gosh, she was going in the fenestration. Do you see it? She grew into the fenestration. Can I remove you? Okay. So, I mean, I said this before. This Aurea, I picked it to grow big because I didn't want that much yellow because of the fear of it crisping. And so this specimen was kind of falling on fully green on one side, and then the leaves generally on this side had kind of like marbled variegation. This new leaf here is probably the most on any of them. So it looks cute. I said I was still gonna give this a chance because y'all know that like I'm not really in love with her anymore. Still gonna give her a chance. Carrying the bucket, it was really light, and okay, there's new, oh, she's hitting the ceiling. Can you see it? There's new root growth, which is good. It wasn't bone dry. I'm looking inside the bucket. Actually, it is. Okay, I lied. There's some condensation on the net pot, so like not to the level where you should worry. And I just want to show you, just any Monstera, they're just gonna go off. Like this is the same with ties, like the regular green form. And yeah, again, gorgeous. Like I feel bad saying that I'm not in love with this plant. Like she is super gorgeous, but I don't know. You just have to be honest with yourself sometimes. So because you can see that she's past the moss pole here, I have to add another one. You can see when you remove the cup, you can see she's already rooting right there. Can you even see me? I'm just peeling off the layer off the moss pole. Again, if y'all are wondering, these sachets are beneficial bugs. I released them like 2 weeks ago. They're the Cucumeris, so they target, or can target depending, spider mites, thrips, other types of mites like broad mites, and I'm using them as a preventative. If you have an active infestation, I would never recommend using these. You need a more aggressive bug. Like if you have a spider mite infestation, I would recommend the Phyto Persimilis. That beneficial. In order to survive and reproduce, they need to eat spider mites. Like that is their primary source in their diet. In my experience with Oris insidiosus, when it comes to treatment of thrips, if you have an active infestation, they're super aggressive. Also known as pirate bugs, those are really good. I love how the queen is trying to steal show. She's just here because I had to keep her here before grabbing this one. My Decipien is on the floor too. Maybe I'll show you her. I think I might have to flush it. I remember the last time. I need to put dates on these. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry that you went in. Actually, that's your fault. You went into the fenestration. Now you're all crumply. Who's excited for Vlogmas, everyone? I'm a little nervous, but again, I am excited. I'm just putting the moss pole here, same as the Melanochrysum. I'm gonna have to break some aerial roots because they've already gone through, and I'm gonna have to push this one through. How are you already latched on? That is wild. Yeah, guys, I still don't know if I'm gonna do any baking videos. I know there's a few people that keep asking about them, and it's a bit different this year because I'm really like, I'm almost finalizing the idea of like doing more shorts also. Sorry. There was like a piece of paper floating just past the window. Do you ever feel? So I think I might post every day short-wise and long form video. So yeah, it's a little different. It's a bit more chaotic. Ooh, she's heavy now. It's been 3 weeks since I changed my nutrient solutions for my plants in LECA. I was trying to stick with the pattern of every 3 weeks during the winter. I'm gonna have to push it a week. I just like didn't have enough time this week. And I mean, that's why the reservoir is dry. So I'm just gonna fill it with just plain tap water. Oh, the camera didn't catch it. Let me just show you what happened. This is why I can't have nice things. The Decipiens just fell over. I was gonna bring her next after I put the Aurea back, but she tipped over. Obviously you can see that she has 2 big leaves, but she tipped over because she's dry. I was gonna flush her. Let's, oh God. Oh my God. So just bring the Aurea back. Boom, boom, gotta push her. Push her. And I talked about how I was a little concerned during the summertime when it comes to the amount of light the Aurea was getting, because Monsteras, they don't necessarily need super, super, super high light at all times. Now that it's November and we're going into winter, that, in my opinion, is enough light. I'm gonna have to move her anyway. I don't know if y'all can see. She's there. She's almost hitting the ceiling, so I'm gonna have to move her to the floor eventually. Maybe like when the new leaf comes out. So we'll see. Okay, Decipiens. I guess we'll talk about her a little bit also. She's gonna take another tumble. Decipien. Boom. Beautiful plant. Yeah, I've noticed, I mean, I've had this plant for years, like 2019. Nope, that's a lie, 2020. Looking back at a year ago, the leaves were like this size. Like, it's not like they've gotten any bigger. So I was kind of thinking, like, not in this video, but in the future, I might repot this one. I've said this before, like, think about repotting when the leaves are not like growing, like if they're staying the same size, if they're getting smaller. Obviously suss the roots, like that's what you should do all the time. And yeah, look at other things. Like, it's tough because, you know, there's not a lot of people. I mean, I don't know anyone who has a Decipiens in pond that has one this big. Like, and anyhow, I do know that the roots have taken over the reservoir just because I have to water this one every 2 to 3 days. I think, honestly, I do think this leaf kind of showing this behavior because of age, but also I had a moment where I think I put the wrong measurement of nutrient solution, specifically Flora Micro or CalMag, into my nutrient solution, and a lot of my plants suffered. I talked about it a little bit more on Patreon because it kind of happened to my Burley Marks Flame. That video is coming out soon. But I propagated my Monstera Burley Marks Flame. Not because of that, I was gonna do it anyways, but like, I just really noticed it when I was like cutting it. I was like, what has happened? And is there a reason why I'm flushing it? I don't remember the last time I flushed it. That's kind of an indication that I need to. And what I was saying before about mixing the nutrient solution incorrectly. I saw a lot of burning on my Burley Marks Flame, on this one, on my Regale. Like, I did see a lot of that. We're just gonna flush. Do you love how things are just changing, everyone? Remember the days where I was like, oh, I don't flush my plants. But here's the thing. I do think I still believe it's not the most important thing. Oh my God, my tripod is not. Okay, I still don't think it's the most important thing growing plants. I feel like, in my opinion, people focus too much on flushing. Focus on like light. Focus on your watering habits. Like, don't focus on flushing your plant, because I think it's talked about too much when it comes to when you're looking at priority of factors that will help your plant grow. Flushing is not up there. Flushing is like down here when it comes to priority. Light and root health is always going to be at the top. Also, people are just like inadvertently flushing as they take care of plants, in specifically aeroid mixes. When you water a plant, there's gonna be stuff coming out of the bottom. That's technically a flush, and good nutrients are also lost when you flush too much through time. So anyhow, wow. I'm in like a spicy mood. I don't know if y'all know this. I don't know if I've talked about this either, but I tend to go on these weird rants about my opinion about things in plant tour videos, and then I tend to like just not include them. I think I'm gonna include them. I don't think I'm gonna edit this out. Yeah, so still troubleshooting. I don't wanna be complacent when it comes to, because my goal is always to grow plants to maturity. Y'all already know that humidity is working against me when it comes to growing big leaves. So with that, like, just seeing how big they grow in my environment, and like, I don't know, maybe there is a cap at how big they can grow in normal home conditions. Oh, do you know what? I want to go through my Monstera constellations the ones that I propagated like 2-3 weeks ago. So 2 of them look wrinkly. I was kind of waiting a little bit longer to show y'all, and I don't know what's going on. They probably haven't rooted. The top cuttings that I did, they're rooting beautifully, slowly, but still beautifully. But I really want to look at the ones in pond, like the root that I wrapped in the deli container so many times. And we're just gonna look together. I'm just waiting for this to drain. And I'm like so scared. I'm like holding on for dear life. I'm like, don't fall. I mean, there's water in there now, so I think we're good. And I'm probably gonna repot these. Well, I'll observe it a bit more, but I will repot them in like spring. I know I already said my Anthurium esmeraldans, I'm gonna repot them in the spring. But if y'all know any planters that aren't, this is hard, that are bigger than this, but like not that big, because y'all have seen my room. Like I don't have room. And if I do have to get a bigger pot, I'm gonna have to get rid of some plants, which is very sad. But you know, there are some giants that I want to keep giant, like obviously the queen, still working on her, and the Decipiens, but space is like always an issue in my small tiny condo. So let me know. I might include this in my favorites video, because like honestly, we go way back. One of my oldest plants, and look at her now. She is one of my faves. Okay, so I'm gonna do them one by one. So this is the one that I had to wrap like the cutting on the root. I cut the leaf because I felt like the plant was, or the cutting was working too hard to kind of sustain it. So by eliminating part of the leaf, you still have that solar panel where it can like take in sun or a grow light, make energy for the plant to push out new roots. It helps the plant sometimes. So that was like a week ago that I cut this in half, I would say. I still don't see any new root growth in here. A little bit wrinkly, like not terribly wrinkly, but just, again, I've been feeling this like every 2 days, and it's been this floppy. I don't know if it's demonstrated in the way I'm showing you, but I don't usually sweat when I see this. It takes time. Like no matter what you do, sometimes like there are some cuttings that just take longer to root. I think it's also because there was less opportunity for the plant to root, because like like a third of the root system's like not in it. But I want to look together, and we're just gonna dump it. I should dump the water. Oh well. Too late. I just want to see if there's any like small roots, or if there's more root growth from the end. And again, I think it's been like 2 to 3 weeks, and I don't see anything at all. Okay, so I love how I squeezed it and it like fell apart. So already feeling the tip of the stem here, not stem, the tip of the root, it was squished. So this came off. But it's not all of it. Like it is here. I'm gonna rip more off. Oh God, can you focus, please? I'm gonna rip more off. And also just like feeling the rest of the root. It's not squishy, which is a very good sign. And so there are 2 options. I can wait. Okay, there's 3. I can put it back where it is. That's the first option. Keep it moist. Don't change anything. She is under grow light, probably getting like 1,000-foot candles at the moment. The second thing, which I think is the best option, I still don't know what I'm gonna do, but I think it's the best option to just put this in water. This root, in my experience, when I have this kind of situation with a long aerial root, putting this in water, you might get branching faster, especially because you are gonna be submerging all the roots, because only this much is covered under. Third option is cutting down this root and just like putting it in either pond or water. I do find it's like 50-50 when it comes to the rot rate. So like I tend to not like doing that ever. Just my experience with my elbow, some ties in the past, I'm kind of leaning towards water. Honestly, water propagation is still kind of up there when it comes to methods if your plant isn't doing well, especially like not a Monstera, but like Anthuriums. Like if you lose that entire root system, just pop that in water. Oh my gosh, that will do wonders. There's going to be new root growth that you didn't even expect to see from like higher up in the stem. So are we going to do water, or are we going to keep it this way? It's just, okay, I want to submerge more of the aerial root. I want to submerge this part. And okay, same thing with this one. So I did cut it in half when I saw that, okay, and you can really see it with this one. Let me show you the wrinkles so y'all know what to look out for. Might not be showing that clearly, but do you see specifically with the stem? Not getting enough water. And okay, also another thing that might happen now, and like in hindsight, I feel like I should have put these in water, but now that this part of the stem is like wrinkle, the house down boots mama, there is actually now a higher chance that this part will rot if I put it in water. I think I'm gonna have to do that because this one's a lot, I didn't even realize that this one was more wrinkly than the other one. So let's dump the pond. I don't think there's roots because, do you know what? The tip of the root, it's looking good still. Look at that. Again, don't trust, do not ever trust how they look. Feel it. It's nice and firm, hydrated. And like going, okay, I'm scared now. See, the part that was submerged is super firm. You can see the end is like fine. This feels different. I don't think I like it. Okay, I'm still gonna do water because I feel like I just need to do it. Let me just get rid of all this pond. I don't know if this is gonna work, but this is a self-watering planter. This is like the bottom part. I'm only gonna use this, fill it up with water because I don't think I have anything else longer. So I'm just gonna lay the roots just in it, and we're still gonna just do water. Again, at this point, it doesn't need any nutrients. I used to do like rapid start diamond nectar. Honestly, water is fine. First one here. Oh my God, genius. Where am I gonna put you though? Okay, and then this one, I'm gonna take the plant tape off. We're just gonna put it like this. So just like that. I think there is a place that's really close to the grow light. I think more than ever now, I need to put these leaves right under, because when I didn't even notice this, but like when I checked this one, it actually wasn't completely under grow light. So it was probably only getting like 200 to 500 foot candles. So I'm gonna find a place where I'm blasting it like grow light right here. I don't know if y'all can tell, but it's real dark. It is real dark. It's funny, it doesn't look dark, but it's dark. Cloudy skies, cloudy skies. So this is one of the top cuttings. And I was scared because I think I was saying I cut too close, or I thought I cut too close. And she had a tiny, tiny root. It has grown more. And yeah, I'm thrilled. So that is amazing. Again, I think it's been 2 to 3 weeks. This is what I would expect from like such a small aerial root. Again, it was like the only one that was there, so I'm just thrilled to see that. Again, look for color changes, but don't conclude anything before you touch it. So you can see that she is a bit more brown, but I would say, just from my experience, can you focus? Just from my experience, that is a normal color. Feeling it's not squishy. So again, just keep your eye on it. Don't conclude anything when you see a change in color, like if it turns brown, because there are some roots that are still healthy that can look more darker or brown. And so just do your assessments, like feel your plant. I change the water like weekly, so let's change it now. There, and then this one's under grow light. Feeling the petioles, they feel a lot better. I mean, after feeling the two that weren't doing so great, just feeling this one, you know that it's getting a good amount of water from that single small root that's growing. So that is the update with that one. There's one more. And okay, this one was from a different plant. So this one was from my oh, I'm spilling water. This one's from my mama, the pond one. This may have been another one I was kind of scared of, because the root, remember, it broke at the end, so I was worried. And as you can see, I was right to worry because she's not squishy, but she hasn't grown anything. But look behind. Remember I said I was waiting, and I knew that there was gonna be a new root, and look at that. That wasn't there before. So that has grown in the last 2-3 weeks. Again, you can see that she is dark brown, black, but feel it. Is it squishy? It isn't, it's fine. Feeling the root, it's not squishy either, so we're not gonna panic. She's doing okay for now. And because it's so big, I have to tie this to the shelf because she's like wants to tip over. So I'm gonna watch where the root is. And okay, it's not gonna look like a lot, but I am so happy to finally see this. I've been kind of not really looking at this one, but this is another one of my Thai propagations. This one, and I want to show y'all because this is an example of a propagation that has taken a very long time to push out roots. Finally pushed out roots, I think the end of summer, and then I finally put it into pond. This was an example of propagating in water. It had those long, like brown aerial roots. They rotted in water. I transferred it into a Ziploc of moss and put the leaf right under grow light. She grew roots, thankfully. It just took a little longer. So seeing this growth point is just so exciting. Like the small things. I've owned so many of these plants, have propagated so many of these plants, but there's something about like finally seeing substantial growth after such a long time. It's everything. So I think there might actually be 2 nodes on this one, but I think it's because I needed to keep like a big enough root system to sustain like the plant. That's another method, like putting it in moss, blasting it with a grow light. There's so many different methods for rehabbing plants. So I'm very excited to see first of all, how big it's going to be, because I'm always curious when you have a big chunk of a stem from like a more mature plant, what is that new growth point going to look like after propagating? So I'm very curious. So yeah, that is her. It is so, guys, it's so dark. It's so dark outside. Okay, and in here, obviously. Philodendron Mcdowell, the one that's up a moss pole. So is that the, oh, the new leaves? Oh my gosh, I was like, is it this one? Is it this one? It's neither. It's this one. Look at this beauty. Oh my God, remember a year ago, they were chunks. They were chunks. And look at her now, up a moss pole doing her thing. Look at that new one right there. Ooh, and there's more. There's old ones over there. Look at this. Stunning. Okay, I haven't really looked at the leaf because she's facing the window. Oh, it's pretty. That's not the new leaf. What am I doing? Kind of have a weird fear with this plant. I mean, like, I have grown this big in LECA while it was crawling. She's clearly doing well now, but the transition from summer to winter, the lighting. I know one year this plant had a hard time when there was less sun because it wasn't under grow light. It's in the same situation where it's not under grow light, it's kind of relying on the south-facing window. So I'm trying to keep an eye on the watering and not trying to overwhelm it. And with that, I do need to look at it more and water it more frequently, but with less water. I don't know if that makes sense. When I water this, I'm not necessarily filling to the maximum. I'm like maybe doing like halfway, a little less than that, making sure the moss pole is moist. It is moist, thankfully, just because with less light, root rot is totally a thing that can happen. And I have seen that with plants that are used to high light, and then all of a sudden in the fall, winter, you literally get no light, the roots start to die off. The plant can't make enough energy to sustain that big root system that it developed when there was a lot of light. So just during this time, just making sure you're not watering it too much. So I originally blasted this one with so much light. It's so dark I can't even see. I'm surprised. I'm looking at the screen. I'm surprised how bright it looks in the screen. But this one was slamming against the window during the summer. She did get really bleak. How come it doesn't look? Is it because it's dark? I can't see it. Y'all can see the hole. Y'all can see the hole. But then after that, I was like, okay, too much light, like full sun the majority of the day during the summer is like too much for this plant. Moved it away. She's on the top of my shelf, not up against the south-facing window. But then she pushed out this, and I'm like, yes, ma'am. And then this one. Beautiful. I'm glad it's the same size as this one. And yeah, I'm very, I said I'm so many times. I'm so interested to see how it's gonna do in pond, because when it was in LECA, you were just feeding it every 2 weeks. And there were more root systems submerged in the nutrient solution. So I think that's why it got really big. This one, I'm not necessarily putting nutrient solution in the moss pole where the new roots are. So I don't know, it's exciting. It's something new. And yeah, I cannot wait to have a big one of this again. I mean, she's already big, but if y'all remember when I grew this one in LECA, oh my gosh. I might just water the moss pole, and then any runoff will go into the pond. So I'm not going to water the actual substrate itself. I'm going to do it via the moss pole and just filling the cup. So I'm just going to leave this here. Also, I want to, because remember my Magnificum Regale? So I was so happy when I saw this new leaf because it was the first one from the top cut of that plant. And remember I was saying I've ignored it, and she was crunched up against a couple leaves, and you can still kind of see that even though she's hydrated now. And you can see like even when I like go like that, like she's super hydrated. So after I watered it, I saw this developing, and like I usually see this when, I mean, two things. So either the roots have grown into the reservoir, it's getting too much water. Anthurium roots do not like sitting in water. In my experience, they tend to rot. I saw that a lot when I had the majority of my anthuriums in LECA. Like, I wanted to see how they would do. They would sit in the reservoir and they would be okay for a little bit because they are thirsty roots. But if they sit there for too long, they get squishy. That's just my experience. Tell me if y'all have had different experiences when anthurium roots sit in water for too long. Anyhow, so that could be one thing that might be happening. The second thing, and I've seen this with other plants, not only anthurium, but sometimes if like the plant and the plant cells are like super dehydrated and then it gets hydrated rapidly and it's a rapid uptake of water, you might see that damage here. So I'm linking it to that because I don't think it had this before. And because I don't want that to happen again, I'm just gonna water it again. The indicator is saying that she is dry, so we're just gonna put some water. I'm not gonna grab it now, but my mother, I think she has 2 growth points. She's up against the window. I'm kind of scared to look at her. I'm gonna have to save that for another video because I have to move too many things. But I don't know, I'm just like so happy that she finally has a new leaf. Ooh. Hey, how we doing, Mcdowell? I can fill your cup again. So I like to, even though I'm like by the sink, I don't necessarily like to just take the tap and like run it over. Moss, when it's dry, water will just like flow past the moss and not hydrate it properly. So I like using this slow trickle cup method so it hydrates it while I'm doing other things. Okay, and I'm so excited. It's kind of, I need to water it. I can't find the words right now. I'm so excited. Okay, this is my Magnificum luxurians, y'all. So this is the newest leaf. Plant fascinates me so much because you can see that like she has a lot of those luxurians, the characteristics. The one before that was more bumpy. I feel like I talk about this every week. It was more bumpy. So with this new leaf, I'm so curious. Look how pretty. I love when they're new like this. It is so pretty. Are you kidding? I'm also curious because this petiole is a lot bigger. You know what? I don't know if y'all can see it, but like feeling it, it's definitely thicker, wider. Oh my gosh. Okay, I gotta water her. Okay, this is a forgotten plant. It's looking good though. The oldest leaf is like starting to go. I don't know if y'all can see the crispiness. But the 2 new leaves, they look fantastic. Anthurium Zara F2 crossed with Michelle F3. I keep forgetting what order. But look, I don't know. It's hard to describe and it's hard to show. Like, it is dark. I feel like it looks darker on camera than in person. The red veins kind of stay for a little bit, but it is just so pretty to me. Yeah, forgotten. I can even tell, like, feeling the pond on the top, it is on the drier side, not completely dry because that'd be like really light. And there's actually a new leaf coming. I'm just putting water over it, but it's still kind of in there, so there's not much to show with that. Okay. Last week, I transferred this into one of these planters. Now, the rate at which the top third of this planter dries out, it is unbelievable to me. And I'm like, is the Forgetii just thirsty and it's taking like all the water? This is what I mean. There's still a reservoir over here. And I've like had to water her 2 times in the past like week and a half. But the top bit, do you see how light this is? It is so dry. Like, I'm still feeling. And guys, you know when you check your aeroid mixes or soil to see if it's dry? I do this with pond as well, but I don't know. I'm actually quite shocked that it's this dry. Like, what's happening? And this was my fear. Like, I'm gonna have to water this often, like not only like in its place in the room here, because I don't know if, is it because the moss is dried too. It's so strange. This plant lives next to my Zara Michelle. It lives right next to my Magnificum luxurians. So it's not like where it is. Like, it's not necessarily super dry in that corner, and the other substrates that were also in pond, they weren't this dry. And it's funny because I've had to water this, fill up the reservoir a lot more than the other ones. And so I just thought that was interesting. Also differences in like the way the leaf feels. And I know I transferred this like a week ago, so like the transitional kind of shock might be a factor. Yeah, like at this stage, I wouldn't necessarily expect to see new root growth. Do you know what? I'm thinking now, remember I talked about how there's like air pockets where the roots are because of such a large root system? Maybe that's impacting osmosis when it comes to having water in the saucer and the pond wicking it up, because the moment there is a break in like the link between all these pieces of pond, that's when it's gonna get dry. Do you think that's the case? And because it's such a big root system, the roots are probably taking the water first before it makes its way up. So in conclusion, I'm probably gonna have to just water this often, top down, and not rely on the bottoming, bottom watering. Bottom watering, to keep the pond moist. Okay, let's put this away. Okay guys, I guess that's it. Another plant tour video, and just so much more to do. I don't know what Wax Plant Wednesday is gonna be. It might be another Hoya plant tour video. I wanna thank everyone who have continued to watch me through the years. I get to take care of plants and film it for a living. Wow, like that is, it's just so weird. I'm so thankful, grateful, and again, I have a Patreon, so I want to thank everyone in my Strawberry Shake tier and my LECA Drop tier, but a very special thanks to those in my Monstera Burley Marks Flame tier: Ryan Jones, Marnie McCallum, Gerda, Janice Upton, Francisco, Margot T, Remy Pavila, Lisa Mata, Gina Nelson, Crystal, Casey Groves, Daniel Wilcox, Sam Pennypacker, Blaine B, Carlos Holling, Gina Alexandra, Corlin Walters, Dor McCroy, Rocio Ramos, Kendra Prum, Daphne McInnes, Danielle, Alicia D, Courtney Evans, Simone, Kiki in the Garden, Artie, North Loop, and Sammy Virtanen. So much for watching. If you made it to the very end, thank you guys so much. I greatly appreciate it, and I will see you guys later. Bye!